Hi everybody, Jacob from Stage Directions Magazine here, and things look a little different this month, I'm not going to lie to you. A little weird over here, a little weird over here. The reason I went to Portrait from Landscape is because this month I did a live broadcast of my video editor's note on Periscope, which is an app that lets you live broadcast from everywhere. It's owned by Twitter, and it's just meant to like immediately put you in somebody's video or do some live broadcasting. I thought it would be fun, neat way to change things up a little bit, so I went ahead and I did that. There's only one problem with that. The apps that I thought which would record the Periscope video feed didn't work as advertised. So as opposed to me talking into a camera the whole time, well, I just don't have that. What I do have though is a training in theater, which means that I always have a backup of everything, because we all know that something goes wrong when you do it live and you need to have a backup. So what you're going to see in the video editor's note this month is going to be a little off angle. I'm going to be talking to another camera as I do a little bit of my video editor's note. I apologize, but join me next month. I want to try it again. It was a lot. I had a lot of fun with it. I'm at Stage Directions on the Periscope app. I might pop up every now and then in the middle of the month too, just to share things. I'm trying to see if there's a fun way I can get to use this new video app ahead of LDI and maybe do some cool stuff for you there. So check it out. I am at Stage Directions on Periscope, and here's my video editor's note, and see you next month. So one of the few times I've ever done improv was for an acting class in college. It was at Wittenberg University in Southern Ohio. I had not taken the improv class. Most incoming freshmen have to take it when they come in, because it's the first class that really kind of gets you into knowing what theater is all about. And I walked in, and with my usual kind of, oh, I don't need to do this, I totally skipped the improv class and just started taking theater classes. And it turns out you had to take the improv class, so I went back the next year and took it. Who knew I even had an aversion to improv even then? In any event, the improv class was a lot of fun because, well, in the first place, like I said, it gets me out of my rut and gets me thinking about what's happening and makes me more aware of what was going on. One of the great moments I remember in it was in the middle of winter. I was taking the class, and we were given a really simple improv exercise of putting on our winter coats, putting on all of our winter coats, putting on all of our winter gear to leave the stage. Only we weren't allowed to actually use our winter gear. So everybody went up, and everybody, put on their jackets and wrapped their scarves around their head and pulled on their boots and all that stuff. And we all watched it, and we were all kind of like, what is going on? And then we went up and tried it, and tried to put on my coat, tried to put on my boots, and I had no idea what I was doing. But I thought I did a very reasonable job. And then the teacher said, okay, now actually go ahead and do that. Take your coats, take your boots, put them on. Put them on, actually see what it feels like to actually do it. So I did it. And I thought that I did the exact same thing. I thought that I had it all right. You shrug the coat on, you pull it up, you wrap the scarf around your head, around your neck, you put the hat on your head, and then you go. And the professor looked at me and he said, okay, that's great. But now, Jacob, how many times did you shrug your coat on? And I thought I only did it once, but it turns out because I had the sweater on, I had to really work to get my hands and my sleeves, the sleeves of my sweater and my arms through the sleeves of the coat. And I had to pull the coat closed 2 or 3 times before I could finally zip it up. And it was all of those little detail things that you tend to skip when you're not really thinking about it, but are there and that are real. And if you're trying to improv something and you're trying to create this reality, those are the things you have to think of. You have to keep in mind all these little details about the world that you're creating and about the space that's going on. And it was one of those little aha moments where I was like, oh, well, it made me go face to face and confront what I thought I was doing versus what was actually happening, which is actually really interesting when we talk about parody, because one of the interesting articles that came out this week is in American Theater Magazine. Joy Meads, who's a literary manager over at Center Theater Group, wrote a great article about unconscious bias and what we think we're doing versus what we're actually doing. And yeah, I thought that was really interesting, that was part of improv as well. You think you're creating this world, you think you've got all these details covered, you think you're communicating all these things, but not really at all. So that was my first improv class.